All right, TCU is next. 5-7 a year ago, 3-6 in
Mhm.
conference. Of course, Gary Patterson leaving, or being unceremoniously sort of fired, quitting, retiring, whatever you want to call it, gently pushed out the door. Um, and he had a great career there,
Uh-huh.
but it did seem like the last several years things were definitely trending down. They hired Sonny Dykes from SMU, um, and like it just seemed like it was pretty much like that was kind of the guy as soon as Patterson was out the door, and it just kind of made a lot of sense. The quarterbacks will be either Max Duggan or Chandler Morris. Those guys are battling it out.
Hmm.
I kind of like a few of their pieces. Like Quentin Johnson could be a star receiver, big guy, um, high yards per catch, solid offensive line. The biggest thing with their offense, I would say, like it's not so much the personnel. It's more a little bit of trust in Sonny Dykes and in his offensive coordinator Garrett Riley, who looks almost more like his brother Lincoln than Lincoln does. Like, no, seriously, look up Garrett Riley, and he looks
I'm
like
looking it
Lincoln
up right
Riley.
now. I'm looking it
Um,
up right now. Yeah.
yeah, so I do expect their offense to take a clear step up from the Gary Patterson days. 5 or 6 years ago, they had a few good years offensively under Gary Patterson where they really opened things up and were explosive. And it seems like it's just been all downhill since then. But I expect them to rebound a little bit here, just if nothing else because of the offensive minds.
Oh, geez. They do look a lot alike. Holy cow. It's like a carbon copy. Okay, so here's the interesting thing with TCU, right? So you think of Gary Patterson defense. Yeah, like he was that 4-2-5 kind of defense.
Yeah.
And their team was led by their defense. Defense and running games, kind of what they were known for. Now you get like Sonny Dykes coming in. Where was he before? Louisiana Tech and SMU.
Yeah.
Like, so you think of that is offense. That is run
Yep.
and gun, air it out, score as many points as you can. Um, Interesting. Yeah, like I think that'll be interesting. The Big 12 in general used to be that way. It feels like TCU is, just a decade and a half late. But yeah, I mean, going to offense now is interesting. It seems most of the Big 12
Mm-hmm.
is kind of went towards defense, but yeah, like what do you have to lose? I have no problem with the hire at all. He seems like everyone just raves about the hire. Like locally there, like
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of a Dallas guy or whatever, and yeah, coaching at SMU and
Yeah.
Louisiana Tech, like kind of in that area, like used to he's used to it. Like it's not going to be a fish out of water by any means. So interested to see how they transition. Will TCU just be like kind of that wide open, just um, yeah, offense where they're just throwing the ball just as much as they possibly can, trying to stack up points and give up a lot of points? Like, is that who they are? Um, I do not have a good feel they're over under at
Yeah.
all. I have no idea.
By the way,
Like
just
what?
so we talked a little bit about their offense, and you mentioned that they've been known as a defensive team for a number of years, but last
Right?
year their defense was surprisingly awful. It
Yeah.
really was not good. I don't have
Right.
any of the advanced numbers in front of me, but just scoring wise, they were 118th in the country. And you could say it's because they're in the Big 12, but really the Big 12
Not.
was
Yeah.
not all that special offensively last year.
No. No, they
So
weren't.
you got to kind of wonder what happened there. Apparently, their new defensive coordinator, they basically hired him from Tulsa because he gave Sonny Dykes' offense a lot of trouble over the years,
Oh, nice.
which is never like a bad thing to do. I feel like that's a good way to hire the other side of the ball when you're kind of known for the one side. Like who gives me trouble?
Yeah.
Like who do I? And that's okay. So if you remember Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, that's how actually he was known as a defensive guy before becoming Oklahoma's head coach, and then
Right.
he hired uh, Mike Leach because Mike
Yeah.
Leach always gave his defenses trouble when he was at Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they won a national title. No, I'm not saying TCU is going to win a national title,
They
but I
won't.
do think that's a solid plan. The defense is going to look a little different. They're going to run a 3-3-5, which is a little bit like it's not that different from a 4-2-5.
Mhm.
It's five defensive backs still, so yeah, I don't know. They have some talent there on defense. I don't think this is a super talented team. I think a lot of this will just kind of come down to the coaching in Sonny Dykes' first season. But I don't think TCU, I don't think their goal is to be awesome this year. Like, I think they're trying to build something. The number is 6.5.
Yeah. No, I know what it is. I know what the
And
matter.
you're still thinking about it. You want me to
I
give
am.
mine first?
Go, please.
All right, so I it's close, but I'm gonna go with the under. I still think they'll probably go bowling. Like I think they'll probably go 6-6, which would be one game better than last year. Um, Part of the reason I think that is it might be a little bit like I don't know. Like okay, so a year ago we saw Tennessee who consistently underperformed, especially on offense, and it seemed like once they hired a coach who actually wanted to play offense, like they didn't suddenly become like conference contenders, but they
Mhm,
suddenly became really solid and beat some decent teams. And I
mhm.
think maybe TCU, like they have a chance, like just having a coach who wants to play offense that might let them win a few games that they would otherwise lose. Still going under 6.5. I'll go 6-6 for their record.
We have disagreement here.
Okay,
I'm on the
about
over.
time.
Yes, it
Only
is.
our second one, I believe.
Is it okay? Well, anyway, um, I'm a fan. I guess if your calling card is your defense and you suck at defense, you might as well you have nothing to lose. You might as well go hire an offensive guy. And like, shoot, we're just going to try to score 50 points a game, and who knows? Just see what happens. Like we have literally zero things to lose. So yes, going over 7-5, I think is their record. I think they
Okay.
knock off a team or two that surprises everyone. I think Max Duggan is going to be the guy. I think him and I think is it like more like Chandler Morris.
Chandler
Yeah,
Morris,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Isn't that that's Chad Morris's son, right? Is that right? Like the old
I
Arkansas
think he
Clemson
might be
coordinator. I
actually.
think that's his guy. Anyway, it doesn't matter because Max Duggan's winning the job because he's more talented. I think that it'll be a springboard. I think they get 3 wins right off the bat. They play some school called
Tarleton?
Tarleton. Sorry,
Tarleton.
Tarleton. Yeah, never heard of them. Never heard of them before. So that's a win. Like I'm just counting wins here. I feel they can knock off a few teams. I think they get Texas Tech. I think they get West Virginia and Kansas State. They're going to beat Kansas because everyone's going to beat Kansas this year. And TCU will win 7 games.
All right.
Mark it down.
I don't strongly disagree with you. I just like that we actually have a disagreement.
Nice.
So